Sports in Philippine popular culture. Sports is important in Filipinos' life. So what is sports in the Philippines? Sports in the Philippines, sports or sport in Filipino are highly valued in the Philippines, and Filipinos tend to be very enthusiastic about participating in them. There is a wide range of sports in the Philippines. However, the top 6 include basketball, tennis, boxing, billiards, football and volleyball, athletics, aerobics, weightlifting, and martial arts are all examples of popular sports that can be practiced as a recreation. Sports are competitive physical activities or games that require skills and often involve teams or individuals competing against each other according to a set of rules. The origin of sports can be traced back to ancient civilization, where various forms of physical contests and activities were practiced. These early sports were often tied to religious rituals, military training, or research pursuits. So here are some kinds of different types of sports.
What are the different types of sports? The different types of sports categories are individual sports, partner sports, team sports, and extreme sports. Here are some examples. Individual sports: tennis, weightlifting, bowling, boxing, and billiard. Partner sports: badminton. Team sports: basketball, baseball, athletics, esports, volleyball, football. Extreme sports: skydiving. Team sports can then be broken down into 4 categories. 1. Invention games. 2. Net games, fielding and striking games, and target games. Envision games. What is an envision game? An envision game is any game a team has to attack another team's area and to score a point. For example, football is an envision game as one team has to maintain the position of the ball, take the ball into other team's half, and then try and score a goal in the opponent's net, invade another team's area. Net games. What is a net game? A net game is when a net is involved in the sport and keeps players separated. For example, badminton is a net game as there is a net in the middle of the court and 2 players remain opposite the net at all times. Fielding and striking game. What is a fielding and striking game? A fielding and striking game is when a game involves a set of fielders and one person striking an object at one time, such as a ball, and running a set course. For example, in cricket, a batter strikes a cricket ball and has to run from one crease to another to score a run. There are also fielders form the opposite team and around the cricket field. Target games. What is a target game? A target game is when a player has to aim and project an object to a designated area. For example, golf is a target game as a player has to hit a golf ball to a set area aiming to put the ball into a set hole. The governing agency for sports in the Philippines is the Philippine Sports Commission, which was created in 1990, while the Games and Amusements Board is the government's regulatory body for professional sports in the country. The Philippine Olympic Committee, or the POC, a private entity, is the sports body which represents the Philippines in international sports competition sanctioned by the International Olympic Committee, including the Olympic Games. The POC was established in 1975, replacing the Philippine Amateur Athletic Federation, which was founded in 1911. The POC's membership also includes national sports associations, or NSAs, organizations which governs a specific sport or discipline in the country. The Philippine Paralympic Committee is the POC's counterpart in disabled sports and is a member of the International Paralympic Committee.
What are the local Filipino sports? Before we go to different sports in the Philippines, let us first learn some local Filipino sports. The first is arnis or eskrima, known as the nation's national sport. Arnis is a weapon-based combat that has been practiced since 1610. Due to the diversity of local languages in the area, it is also known as eskrima. Arnis is a martial art that is extremely popular in the Philippines. There are lots of traditional martial arts, but arnis is among the most popular ones, and it is also taught in schools. Second, domog wrestling. If you're interested in wrestling sports, you should discover the Mog. The Mog is the name for the Philippine version of traditional wrestling. The goal of the Mog, a Filipino martial art that combines various techniques, is to force an opponent to the ground and hold him there. Methods of gaining control over an opponent include pulling, grasping, shaving, and pinning them. The third is Palo Sebo. Have you gone to a traditional Filipino style fiesta? Palo Sebo is among the popular sports that are also played for recreation. Sticky poles, often made of bamboo, are used, and a reward bag is placed on the top. The goal is to make your way to the top of the greasy pole, and the fastest player to do so wins the reward. The fourth is Sikaran. This martial arts sport has existed since the 1600s in Rizal, Philippines. Instead of hands, it is played with the feet. The biyakid kick is a unique move in Sikaran. It aims to hit the back of the opponent's head. Sikaran is contact sports game. Contest or tournament using both hands and feet to parry the attack of the opponent, which is usually a strategic kick. Sikat is a Filipino root word for kick, thus kicking use and an active verb translate to sikaran. The fifth is sipa, also called takyan. Is a Filipino game played before the Spanish took over the country in the 15th century. It is a pretty hard game because you need speed, agility, stamina, and a lot of control over the ball. The game can be played by multiple players, and the object of the game is to prevent it from hitting the ground. The foot is used to kick the sipa, and the player who kicks the most wins. The last is songka. It pronounced sungka. Is a turn-based board game for two players who try to get more stones than the other players. The game brings out a person's desire to win. The songka game seems to be a game of the mind. It is also known to help people improve math and their ability to observe.
Famous sports in the Philippines. Basketball. Everywhere you go in the Philippines, you'll always see basketball courts. Take note, even not in a gymnasium, there are a lots of improvised courts along the streets. Why? Filipino love basketball. This is indeed a popular sport in the Philippines. Basketball in a particular has gained a lot of popularity, and amateur games can be found in almost any neighborhood in the country. Gilas Pilipinas, the national team, represents the Philippines in international competitions. Basketball is played by two teams with a 5-player each. You score by putting the ball through the hoop, dribble or pass to move the ball. Players are not allowed to take more than 2 steps after picking the ball up before shooting or passing it. Badminton is a racket sport played using rackets to hit a shuttlecock across the net. Although it may be played with larger teams, the most common form of the game are singles with 1 player per side and doubles with 2 players per side. Badminton has been played in the Philippines since the 1920s, when British and American expatriates introduced the sport to the country. The national team was formed after the establishment of the Philippine Badminton Association in 1952. Boxing. When we talk about boxing, it's impossible not to mention Manny Pacquiao. Boxing also a popular sport, and 38 major world champion in different weight categories have come from the country. After Manny Pacquiao did well in his job, the sport also became more popular. Modern day sports boxing involve two athletes punching each other with paddle gloves, trying to knock their opponent down and out. These fights usually last 3 to 12 rounds, with each other round usually lasting 3 minutes. Volleyball. Eliza Valdez, Denise Lazaro, Zia Morado, and Dindin Santiago. These are just a few of the famous volleyball players in the Philippines. You might not think that the Philippines had much to do with how volleyball is played today, but they did. In fact, the set and spike were made by volleyball players in the Philippines. People in the Philippines started playing volleyball in their backyards, and beach volleyball games soon followed. According to the Philippine Volleyball Federation or PVF, volleyball game played by two teams usually of 6 players on a side, in which the players use their hands to bat a ball back and forth over a high net, trying to make the ball touch the court within the opponent's playing the area before it can be returned. Football. American football is a sport that has only been played in the Philippines for a short time. The first league was Arena Ball Philippines, which ran from 2009 to 2015. The Philippine American Football League was started in 2016. The Philippines also puts together a national team for men football game in which two teams of players using any part of their bodies except their hands and arms try to maneuver the ball into the opposing team's goal. Only the goalkeeper is permitted to handle the ball and may do so only within the penalty area surrounding the goal. The team that scores more goals wins.